Hi, everybody. My guest this week is Linda MacLellan, a holistic registered nurse and entrepreneur. Linda shares her journey and insights into holistic health with her expertise on essential oils and their medicinal benefits. She is very big on the importance of self-care, morning routines, and protecting one's energy, and wants you to benefit from her experience. Okay, let's dive in.
Thank you so much, Jeannie, for inviting me on. And I'm so impressed with, that you're, scouting out different entrepreneurs to talk to and, try to figure out what is it with us that why we move forward. And I suppose all of it starts with a passion and a purpose, and you have to have both. And then you have to just wake up every single morning and, think outside the box. So basically, what happened with myself and my family, a lot of us, in the world do have children. And then if one of your children is ill for quite some time, for myself, she was ill for 2 years. And I was able to finally, after all the conventional testing, very thankful for conventional testing. I think our world does need conventional healthcare. But after 2 years of conventional testing, CT scans, MRIs, what is the problem? Finally, they just said, well, we can't figure out the problem. And I'm very thankful they didn't find a mass, but what was it? And so holistic doctor was actually able to diagnose her with leaky gut. And leaky gut is something where the stomach breaks down. It's actually leaking into the body. And a lot of people have leaky gut if they have, I found this out, in research, leaky gut, it can happen due to antibiotics. It can happen due to GMOs, genetically modified organisms. So hers probably happened for many reasons. And so she has a twin identical sister. The identical sister didn't have it. What was the difference? And the difference was the one daughter, she did have more GMOs. Like you have to look at the side of the box to really know what you're eating in today's world. Like, is it genetically modified? Does it have dyes in it? And that all breaks down the microbiome. So, she wasn't even able to have a bowel movement without an enema for 9 months. Like we actually had to do daily enemas. And I was teaching one of my older daughters how to do the enema. It was a really hard time. And finally, after, maybe, 2 years, I was able to figure out we needed to detox her. And we were trying to do that. And detoxing means getting the whole body to work the way, God designed, how we are all born to work normally. And so we did a detoxification with essential oils where it was a protocol, and nurses are used to protocols. We run protocols in the hospital. Like if somebody has hypertension, we know that we need to, work on them with meds, and get the blood pressure within range. And we let the doctor know. So I was used to running protocols in the hospital anyway. So with holistic protocol, it was set out by holistic doctors, and, clinical research was, proved that this could help her. So we did the protocol. And after 2 times doing this detoxification protocol, her bowel started moving. And, the doctors in conventional world have pretty much given up on hope that she would have normal rhythm again. So I was very enthusiastic about that, happening for us. And I thought, I have to share this with more than just my own family and friends. I need to create a business, And so that's the passion and the purpose is to really, here at planet Earth, just go ahead and make sure people are aware. If you get a no in the conventional world of something you don't want to hear, you can go in the holistic world. You have to empower yourself and, to really be able to thrive instead of barely survive. Because so many people are in their homes and they're sick today, and they don't have to be that way. They just need to research and become an advocate for themselves. So I try to help people become an advocate. In other words, we're not taught holistically what to do when we're born. In today's world, that just doesn't happen. So I'm trying to coach people how to help the conventional brain to learn to live holistically.
That's a great story. I mean,
and I love it.
It tells us that there is always a way, no matter how stuck you feel, or maybe you don't see the way out, or don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. You have to look, find out the answer. Of course, you have to do your due diligence and do your research, but then you reach out to experts and like Linda and other people that already walk down that road. But I'm bringing Linda to the show because it is so important for any people, especially busy entrepreneurs. Make sure they have optimal health and make sure they take good care of themselves, because you may have great business, and we'll get into that shortly, and making a lot of sales and making difference in your life and other people. But if your health is starting to suffer, it will be very challenging to continue your mission in life and help other people and help your family and other entrepreneurs and help your customers. So that's why Linda's here, and we also share a love for traditional medicine. At the same time, we both love to see outside of the box and see alternative medicine. I've tried all kinds of things myself. Even before I met Linda, we talked for a little while. One thing led to another, and here we are. So I want to ask you, Linda, how that story shaped you, who you are today.
Well, I mean, I was always an adventure. I was talking to someone recently about the fact that, I did go ahead and, you live your life on purpose, right? Because every day counts. And how it shapes you, it makes you more courageous. Every single thing you do in your life builds upon it. Like, I was an ROTC in college, my first degree. And then, I figured out that my first degree wasn't working. So I got a second degree. So I feel like every single thing builds on itself in your life. It's like puzzle pieces of your future, every single thing you learn. So how that experience shaped me and how it makes me do my business is I want to make sure every single person, that I'm helping realizes that they have to be an empowered person. They can't expect me to, coach them every single day. I'm going to lead them and I'm going to teach them how to be an advocate. So I feel like that experience made me understand that you really have to do your research. You cannot just wait for somebody to do something for you. You can't, you can rely on other people to be experts in their field and give you their opinion. But when all is said and done, if you haven't done your due diligence of research, then you might not have found the answers to, to some of life's challenges, if you're not doing your due diligence. So I think, the way I do my business today is really seeking after people that really want to have change in their life and really prefer to work inside that holistic bubble.
So Linda, tell me, what do you do like in the morning, or there's certain routine that you that helps you ground yourself, that kind of keeps you in balance and in alignment for you as a business owner, mother, wife, all that good stuff, entrepreneur?
Entrepreneur. So basically, you try not to pick up your phone first thing in the morning, because if you do, you might get stuck on there too long. And you want to make sure that you have a clear brain to really start your day. And you want to have, like some people call it like zone time, or you're just like quietly try not to think about anything. And then that way you're desensitizing yourself for the day. You're actually asking, God or whoever your, the person that you respond to, the creator of the universe, to just, bless your day and start your day with them and meditate. Meditate is a great thing to do. And meditation could be different for every single person, but I do feel like a clearing of the brain in the morning before you let others influence your thought process is a great idea, because you may get your clearest clarity of what you should be doing with your life and your next steps if you do it like that. And then, of course, water, hydrating, a detoxification of some kind. I right now I've been doing a collagen detox, but I used to do a lemon essential oil detox. So it just depends what stage, you feel your body needs, but it's body, mind, and spirit, right? That's those three. how we're all created. So we need to make sure we're, taking care of our body with proper sleep, starting our diet with proper hydration. There's 6 pillars of health. So those are 2 of them. And then just with the brain, you want to make sure you're starting the brain the way it should and not with other people's energies and such. Protecting your space first thing in the morning is so important for the rest of the day.
Very
to
well
be
said.
able
How do you
to be the
protect
person
your
that you're
energy
supposed to be
the rest
while
of the
you're here.
day?
Yeah. So I find if, I do that, grounding time of just, by myself and, the water, the sleep, all of that can help protect, start to protect me that way, because I've started with something, a ground level of doing that. And so the rest of the day, it's just like a mental check-in. If something tries to throw me off, I just focus on, just my own inner thoughts. If somebody were to try to if you hear something you don't agree with, you just go, okay, I'm going to shut that off. You're still going to talk to the person, but you're not going to let it affect you. Or if you feel, hold every thought captive. That's something in the Bible, actually. If you hear somebody say something that's negative, you want to just push off that negativity. And that way it's not going to affect you. And, because you don't want to affect your whole day. And then, whatever you focus on grows. So you want to make sure that you focus on the positive things. Of course, we're all humans. You're going to have some negative things happen to you, but it's really how you react to them that makes a difference. You can react, or you can just be proactive and just keep heading on the course that you think that, during the initial start of your day that you should head. You should keep heading in that direction of positivity.
So what happens if you
and not
get it in a human moment?
Yeah.
Do you have a certain breathing exercise you do, or a certain affirmation you tell yourself, or do you simply tell yourself, just stop and walk away from that thought?
Yeah, I think I've learned most days when I've had proper sleep, proper rest, proper hydration, to just have a quiet moment and look and just think and be able to respond accordingly and not react. And then, of course, count to 3, count to 10, any of those do help. It just gives the mind time to think. And so I think a lot of us, when we're younger, we might react more to things. And even when you're older, you can, especially with your family.
They can push
your
the
family really
buttons.
knows who you truly are, right? You can react and overreact. So there's a lot more apologies. Too. There's so many more apologies in the, we have 4 daughters. So of course there's going to be more, dialogue and things and just all of that. But if it's just with a business person, a friend, a colleague, and something happens in the human aspect, like you're saying, you just do need to really freeze, take some breaths, and then, keep going for it. But I think a lot of people I've noticed stop breathing when they get tense, and then they get more tense. And then it could affect your health because, you're closing your body off to breathing. And that's something we all get at birth is, breathing. And we all should
Isn't
enjoy
it interesting?
that
it goes back to a very basic.
Yeah,
I'm guilty just as much. When I get stressed out, I'll forget to breathe. So I have to, like, it's an awareness that I have to tell myself, I just used to breathe and count to 5 or 10, like you said. Sometimes I count backwards. So it's only like, you only need like 3 to 5 seconds to breathe and refocus yourself. Like, just let it go and refocus. That's kind of shifting your mindset.
Exactly.
Sometimes I like, if there's opportunity, I like to go outside to go for a walk, especially on a nice day. And it doesn't have to be long, about 10 minutes, maybe 15, especially if it's a sunny day, and just enjoy the nature, enjoy the moment.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the state. You need to have everything be part of your day. It can't be all work and no play. So like you said, if you can schedule, like we were talking about yoga earlier, I know I'm going to take a yoga class tomorrow night. And then, I did some walking like 2 nights ago. And then last night it stormed, so I didn't get exercise. I do feel like I think better. The body is made to move. So we should all move it every day. There's 6 pillars of health, and that is one of them is exercise and movement. I mean, we're a body. We're not supposed to be just sitting in our chair. Like, they've said that, sitting in a chair is worse than smoking. So, I actually, where I'm at right now, this is actually a stand-up desk. So I have it at a low place right now that I can just sit here and talk with you. But sometimes, I do have it up higher so I can just stand up all day. And it's quite freeing to be able to do that and
I
work
love moving
and
too. I
move
love going
because the
for a
body is meant
walk.
to
I
move.
like, especially walks on the beach are wonderful. I love doing that. Also like to dance. I like to go to Zumba classes and just it's a combination of movement and music. So how can you beat that? And then just moving, having a good time. And that brings like, what is your passions? Like I like to dance. I like to, run, and I like to do a few other things. I think dancing and Zumba specifically, that's one of the things I really love to do because it's hitting those two passions at the same time, music and movement.
That's right. Actually, I love to do clinical research still, and there's like the amygdala, in the brain and everything. And I read just last week that there's a part of the brain that doesn't respond to teaching and words or reading, but it will only respond whenever you are smelling something or your music. And so that part of the brain is important to stimulate because say you have a stress, you need to be able to remove that. And so the only way to remove that would be, like smelling, an oil, smelling chocolate, smelling coffee, or movement can help too. But the amygdala, was talking about smelling and also music, just the senses, and it really wakes it up. So that is another way I also start the day is trying to have music to really stimulate it. And it does higher our energy for the day. And then if you start to feel off during the day, you can also, just have that music that you love to listen to. So yeah, it's very
So
important to
what would
understand
be
how
a
the body
couple of
works so
best
we can help
oils
it.
to have in our purse? And I know for men, maybe in their pocket.
Yeah. Well, I know we started, doing peppermint essential oil in our home, and that is awesome because, like 1 drop is equal to 28 cups of peppermint tea. So if you just take 1 drop in your hands and rub your hands together and do something called cupping, inhale, exhale, it really acts quickly, olfactory nervous system to limbic system in the brain, sends messages all over our body to wake it up. And so right before I came on to talk with you tonight, I actually went for my peppermint, and it wasn't thinking it out. It just automatically happens after you're, used to oils. And it's my favorite. It's just, it just takes you where you need to be. Like other people may choose something to kind of calm them down, like a lavender oil. But I don't want to be sleepy. I want to be awake. So of course the peppermint is really good. People with PTSD, wild orange is supposed to be very good. Some people in the military have said that's very helpful for the PTSD. But yeah, by far the peppermint is known
Good.
to
Those
wake us
two
up, and the
two
lavender is known
best
to
oils.
put us to sleep. Two
If
extremes.
you don't want to try like too many things at once, that would be probably the best ones. You went after peppermint oil, and I went after dark chocolate. That's my weakness.
No, I do the dark chocolate still too. I will not turn down. In fact, I just was given some dark chocolate this
Coffee
morning,
and
and I
dark
did not
chocolate.
refuse
Only
it.
coffee in the morning for me because I don't want to be wired up. Dark chocolate doesn't do that for me. It gives more of a even kill. So I would recommend dark chocolate because it's supposed to be good for you.
Right. Exactly. And it's really supposed to help our immunity. It's supposed to really, build us up. It's actually, natural. So the higher the chocolate density, or what is it, the curacao, something, do you know the
Concentration of
proper name for that? But it's
concentration is
supposed to be
70,
really helpful
80%.
to
Mm-hmm.
our immunity.
I've tried 100 one time and I said, oh, no,
Correct.
it was worse than, that was worse than liquor. I'm like,
A
no,
lot of
100%.
chocolate.
I think 85 is kind of my limit.
Yeah. The 85. Yeah. At Whole Foods, you can
No,
pick up some that is 100. And I don't think it's enjoyable anymore. It's like,
that's one
why
of
am I doing this?
that's one of the
That's
key things
just too
too. Like you
much.
have to
And
try to see what works for you.
but
If
yeah.
it's no longer enjoyable,
Mhm.
why are you doing it? I did that once and I said, 85 is good. I think I've tried 90% once.
Right.
No, 85 is good. So that's what I kind of stuck there. So we need to have a great awareness of our physical and spiritual and our mindset, how we talk to ourselves every day. That negative talks and negative beliefs comes and pops up. When your negative talks or negative beliefs pops up in your head, do you entertain it? Do you try
Mhm.
to move on to a different subject?
Great questions. For me, I think as a nurse, because I've been a nurse over 20 years, I know you've been a nurse for a while too, or just maybe not on the floor. Like I have been a nurse on the floor for a while, but I think you learn to like really not sweat the small stuff as much. Life is black and white. To a lot of nurses, it's like, well, if you're alive, you're doing pretty well. So, and my dad did die pretty young in my life. So if no one has died in my family, I'm having a great day. That's how I've been thinking since he passed. And so, that being the case, I don't sweat the small stuff like a lot of people. And people might say, oh, how can you do that? But really, once you have someone die in your life and you didn't expect them to, you can, you really learn a lot, how valuable life is because it can be taken away in a heartbeat. So I try to focus on whatever good is happening out of, and if something bad is happening to me, what can I learn from it? Like I was thankful to the doctors for helping my daughter figure out that she didn't have cancer. She didn't, even though they weren't figuring it out, I was still thankful. And I did forgive them in my heart whenever they could not figure out what was going on with her. And that was part of the healing process too, because you have to like forgive these people because they aren't aware of what can really help. So, and goodness gracious, I have a whole new career because my daughter was ill. Like you just don't know what's going to happen in your life sometimes. So it's being thankful for that illness, even though I wish she wouldn't have had to go through that. But she is a tough, our twins are 20 now, and she is tough. I mean, she actually got a full ride in college this year on her own because she is so strong. And I'm just like, so thankful. And she used to say to me, goodness, mom, it's a good thing, my sister did not get this. I don't think she would have been able to handle it. So certain people I do think are wired to handle things better than other people. Like I know I am, and she is, but some other people it could emotionally break them. So I feel, it is something that can be learned. But I do think innately I have been wired to handle a lot of stress. My husband says I'm a stress magnet. Every single thing that you can do in your life that's stressful, I have attracted it. But that's good stress. I homeschooled and I have so many great homeschool memories. Nurses have to do a lot of long shifts, overnights, all the things. But like, I wouldn't take it back for anything. Entrepreneurs have to, from dawn to night, you're just, you're like thinking about your business. You have to try to shut it off. That's why that groundwork first in the day is so important to set your path so you aren't stressed out, so you don't get a physical illness and all the things. But yeah, like you definitely get to decide your life on purpose. You can hold everything captive if you are having a negative thought that day. But of course, if you don't get your sleep, that's how I found that's my weakness. If I don't get sleep, I do feel like things are affecting me. And then I'm like, okay, I need to go to bed early. And then once you know that, you're like, okay, you set it in your mind, I'm going to go to bed 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, whatever is early for you. And then, you hold to it and just treat your body right. Cause, we have 300 and, how many days, every single year we have. So we have all those days to make a better day the next day. We're always getting another day. Usually, most of our life we get another
waking
day.
up and be excited about the
we
new
can always
day.
make it better
I think
the
that's
next
one
day.
of the big things, and wait to see what can unfold. To me, the things that I've been in the last couple of years on my journey, more like 3 or 5 years, that it's getting in kind of and trying to do new habits that keeps me grounded. One of the things that I like to do is when you wake up in the morning and feel like you're excited for the day, like you can't wait to see what unfolds, what mysteries of life you can solve, who you can meet, and what presents you can get. It's almost like you're looking for a present instead of a problem.
Right. Right. And then out of the problem that you do have, like watching it unfold, and it's actually an opportunity because, like say, you got turned down for like a job that you were seeking, or, someone didn't want something you were offering. You're like, well, you learn something from it and then you create something better, but you never would have learned that unless you like failed, right? There's a book I'm reading right now, Failing Forward. And it's John, I'm trying to think if you know his name. He's one of the business coaches that I follow every single day. And it's John Maxwell, very good book. And so if you don't fail in life, you can't really learn. Not that I want to fail all the time, but I do feel like that's something we see our kids do. If they're learning to walk, right, they fall down. Oh, well, I don't need, it's starting from the very start of life. You have to like learn things the hard way sometimes. Now you can't learn and watch other people, but it's better to learn
yourself. They're not going to say, well, I can't walk today, so I'm going to stop. Yeah. No, you're going to keep encourage them to keep walking until they start walking or riding the bike or whatever the kids are learning. But we as an adult, we get so unflexible sometimes and stuck in our box, like we don't want to try new things because of the fear of failure. Is that a failure? I think it's the experimentation and experiment. But then if you don't try, how do you know? What if you like it? Well, if you don't like it, that's fine. But then like you were bringing the example, what if you didn't get the job? Well, what was it? Well, maybe that job wasn't even for you. What if the job that you had to wait 2 or 3, 4, even a month, it's your dream job. And then if you would have taken that one, that wouldn't have never happened. So sometimes we think that's, delaying is a denial, but it's not. It's just something different. And just focusing on that thought, and that's giving the mindset as a human being, or especially as entrepreneurs. If we don't try or see a different possibility or think outside of the box, then how do you know what works or what doesn't?
Right. I think the biggest thing in life that I've seen as an entrepreneur is making sure you have, even if you don't feel well that day, which, I do try to run my immunity pretty strong. But, but some people I know, different people I know haven't felt well. And so if you can just do one thing every day in action, just something to move yourself forward psychologically, you're going to feel better. So even if like you're not a morning person, say, because I used to be a night nurse, so I had to teach myself to be a morning person because, entrepreneurs, we have to be on it all day long. In business, we don't know who's going to need our services. So, there's a general misconception that, you can't be all things to all people. You can when you're an entrepreneur, because that this is your chance in life, that you figured out what your mission and purpose is here on planet Earth, and you can make a difference. But you can only make a difference if you have the right mindset and that you take action every day, even when you don't feel like it. Right? Move forward, because if you don't, then you've actually probably moved backwards because you just need a little bit forward, like, and the other days you have giant steps
Yeah,
forward,
every day
right?
you need to take some
So
steps,
it's
no
exciting.
matter how small or how big they are. As long as you're moving forward, as long as you're staying in the momentum, then you'll see the next step. And quite often, you're not going to see that next step until you take the first two steps. You're not going to be able to see the third or the fourth step, because often, if we want to see the whole 10 steps all at once, we're going to get overwhelmed and we're not going to do any of that.
Right. Right. And I think each step we take in life encourages us. And then you look back at most people right before they go to bed, think about how their day transpired and what, good things happened. And they might think about, oh, they would have done something different. But at least you've moved ahead. You've learned from it, just like John Maxwell in his book, Failing Forward. Even if you failed at something that day, well, you have another day, and if you need to apologize to someone, or if you need to, redo a conversation, the next day, you can, your life is what you make it. A lot of people, I think, are programmed to think, like they have to work a 9 to 5, they have to go to bed at a certain time. No, you can be a life designer. And I just, people limit themselves. And I think that's the one thing with homeschooling, I was able to help our girls know in life. Both of them, I think, want to be entrepreneurs. One of my older daughters has her own business. I have my own business, and I feel like, you can really design your life to be the way you want to and not be always a 9 to 5, or nothing's wrong with that. But I think that if you really want to get to your highest potential,
What
being
was
an
that
entrepreneur
moment?
is
What
an
was that
amazing way
pivotal
to do that.
moment when you said, well, I really don't want to? I know you still work at the hospital once or twice a month, correct? But you're really an entrepreneur, because you're probably doing that so you can just
Correct.
still keep up with what's going on in the nursing and healthcare overall. But at the end of the day, you're doing your thing. You make your own schedule.
Right.
And when was that moment that you said, okay, this is what I want to
Right.
do? When did you know that?
Right. It was probably whenever I was frustrated with my daughter not being able to get answers in the conventional healthcare system that I trusted as a nurse. So, I'm going into the hospital every day and working for them. And then all of a sudden you're like, I can't place, all my faith and my hope in this, in this life anymore. I need to refocus on what is helping us personally to move forward in life and make sure other people are aware of it. So it was really, that those moments where I was awakened to things that we aren't taught in the regular world. Like on a perfect world, right? In kindergarten, children would be exposed to, holistic things that could help them, not just oils, but a lot of other holistic things, like try acupuncture, try exercise instead of, Motrin. Like maybe you have a headache. Well, maybe you haven't gone and moved your body for a while, I mean, there's so much that we could really be doing, education, empowering our kids. So the whole life, when they do have a health issue, they'll know that, sure, conventional can help us sometimes, but go holistic too. So I feel like that really was the turning point when I just said enough. Like I need to make a difference. And, I think a lot of people have their wake up call when something happens to them and they see they need to speak up, or else, they're not being true to, what they
A
discovered.
lot of people,
Their wake up call in
some
life, right?
reason, I think is the safety thing and the fear of failure goes back to that, way to that moment that the pain is so great for in order to make a change. They don't make, Joe Dispenza, I don't know if you follow him. He talks about it very often. He said most of the
I
people
do.
wait for the moment that the pain is so hard that you just can't take it anymore, and then you decided to change. Isn't that better to not wait to that point and just decided to change when you not quite there? It will take a lot less energy to change things around if you're not in excruciating pain. and suffering. But can we judge ourselves or other people?
Right.
Of course not. But we as a human
Yeah.
kind of wired that way. We look for safety. We want to be comfortable. We're afraid of trying new things. What if we fail? It goes back to the same thing.
Right. 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 I mean, I used to be a full-time nurse, then I was part-time, and now I'm like casual, which means very limited amount of nursing shifts. And, I am a conservative person, so I believe it's just I'm hanging on to it to get our twins through college. Multiple streams of income are great. We have, a rental property too. So I do believe you never know in life what's going to happen. So you might as well go ahead and have multiple streams of income. And I've been a nurse for a long time. So it's not like recreating the wheel. My brain knows how to do it. And I work as a mother baby nurse, so that's a very happy area and somewhat holistic actually with the newborn milk that the babies are drinking, the colostrum, that's from the mom's body. So in colostrum, if you read about that, how amazing that is for the newborn baby. And I feel like it does keep me grounded and purposeful to know in healthcare that we do need conventional sometimes, like say somebody has a heart attack or a stroke and you need those life-saving, things. And then also car accident. My husband had a detached retina back in May out of, crazy. And I've actually read it could be the monitors and screens that we're looking at are causing a lot of people to have earlier macular degeneration and detached retinas. So I think we all need to be very cautious of, all the technology around us, all the EMF, electromagnetic frequency. But, you really need to take care of yourself. But yeah, I feel like being in both worlds does keep me more grounded, honestly, because like it makes me more purposeful when I am in my holistic element, which I am most of the time. So I'm like, well, I know what's going on in the hospital, and I'll tell different people I'm working with, coaching, well, this is what they would say in the conventional world, but in the holistic world, this is what we can see that other holistic doctors are recommending, you do this. Like there's essential or recipe books that people have used for years on how to help support the body through different issues. And, it's a real wake up call for us to know, first of all, why aren't we being told? And another reason, I want to do this business is, to wake other people up before they have a critical issue like we did. And, and to wake up the future generations because we're not here forever. So, and I know pharmaceuticals came out, I believe in the 1920s, right? So that's almost like 100 years. So, so essential oils and other holistic things like CBD, different things like that. I'm not a CBD advocate, but I know that a lot of people are. So I'm including that in, my verbiage, but just saying like these things are from the ground. And so if our ancestors were using them and they were helpful, I think it's very important that we look at those, even if we're not taught about those in schools, and be an advocate and know that these could be so helpful for ourselves and future generations.
It's so true because, ancestors used it, but it's also about balance and amount of what you're using, all in moderation, and what you're using, how you're using, and like you don't want to be doing that every day. The amount of you using, and you kind of need to do your research, find the expert or mentors that will help you, and kind of look to see, okay, well, maybe I should try that, and then see how it works for you. We are very similar because we all humans in our body function a lot similar, but yet we have the differences that may be a little different for each person. What works for you for the basic stuff, like you were pointing out, lavender and peppermint will have most likely the same reaction for everybody, unless they're allergic for whatever reason. But I don't think there is a lot of known allergies to essential oil, is it?
No, from what I've researched the past 5 years that I've been working with oils and, different people, somebody might say, I have an allergy to lavender. And I'm like, well, which brand did you use? And they'll say like a grocery store one. And it's like, well, I started off from Whole Foods and asking people, clerks there, questions. And they were like, never take this internally. And I'm like, well, I read you can. And they're like, oh, not our brand. And so you start researching and you find out that 90% of the oils on the market are adulterated, like something's added to the oil, something's taken away, because oils are very precious. So you have to make sure that you do buy the oils from a reputable company that, doesn't add anything to the oils, doesn't take anything away, harvested hopefully from the original country where it was discovered, and not, made, in the United States. Nothing against the United States, but like say an orange from Florida is going to be more potent than an orange from North Carolina. So you want to make sure, you do your research, because, if 90% of them on the market aren't good, you might have an allergy, but it's not truly to lavender. The true flower that it's harvested from in France is going to be different from one that's 10% lavender and 90% chemicals. And then they have an allergy to chemicals. Like, have you heard of people going into Bath and Beyond, not to pick on that store, not trying to pick on it, or other stores that have scents, and people can't stay in there, or they're like in a detergent aisle at a grocery store and they suddenly feel, sick. So you just have to be really conscientious of what's pure and what is, fake, because they may not really have an allergy to lavender.
That's a very good point. Whatever's
the fake
in the
lavender,
grocery
but not
store,
the real
you have to, do research. There are some brands, I'm sure they're good. We're not saying that anything that's sold in the grocery store is terrible. You just have to be aware that it may not work for you because the way it was grown and how they mixed it and what the additives they used and maybe some was error in the manufacturing, and that things happen. You just have to be able to tell the difference and kind of decipher for yourself, do your homework. Pretty much that's the way we're saying. Like, don't, just because you were allergic, well, are you really allergic to it, or there's something happened to, could be something even happened with that particular batch. It's possible. Oh.
Right. Exactly. I think, it's always buyer beware. And then, always be open-minded, because, like I said, there's really not a lot of information on the oils. I couldn't really find a lot of information, but I will tell you, a trusted source that I found right away was PubMed.gov. And if you put in PubMed.gov, this is government research, and it's amazing research. So my father, as I talked about earlier, he did pass away early in my life, of a brain tumor. And it was, hard for all of us, because he was, a brilliant man and the light of a lot of our lives. And, I didn't know about oils back then. And, but if you go to PubMed.gov and put in like tumor, you find out frankincense can actually help shrink tumors. And so that's incredible information. I'm not saying that if you have a tumor to only use frankincense, but you could maybe, talk to a trusted holistic doctor and a conventional doctor and kind of compare and just make your own, decisions of really knowing, what is out there in our world that was actually put here before we were. And so I love it that there's provisions from the earth, such as frankincense. And like, I've used it in some of my care, and like, I've had like a little cyst and then just treated it, and it dissipates. And it's just fascinating to me that, PubMed.gov has done so much research, different things that can help with a lot of different situations. It's just incredible. So I feel like a lot of people, if they start to do research on there, they'll become aware of just how amazing oils can be, and not think they're just for aromatherapy like we first did. I thought they were just for smelling, but like, so your cells are in your body, right? You've got trillions of cells. So if this is a cell in your body, if you can get an oil into the cell internally, safely, not a whole bottle, but like, the bottles are behind me, like a couple drops, like each of those bottles has 250 drops. So maybe 1 or 2 drops is all you need. It's a dose. And then, you put it in a veggie cap or some water or something. And then you also use that same oil topically on your skin and aromatherapy, that your cell is going to be crowded with goodness and, plant-based medicinal support for whatever ailment from the recipe book that told you to do those oils for that ailment. And that's the incredible thing I don't think I'll ever get over, that medicinally we can help ourselves in our homes without leaving and be the healthcare provider in our home. But you still need the doctor. I know sometimes. I'm not saying replace, but I'm saying prevent some chronic illnesses, be more nurturing to our family on a daily basis, and really utilize what's here, been here forever. And it's, it's natural. It's not fake. It's, it's going to be what our cells are crying out for. One of the good things
of essential oils, you can just put it on the skin. It bypasses the whole digestive tract like the pills do. So it goes directly through the skin into your bloodstream. That's why I like essential oils. So one of the things that you don't have to take it through digestive tract, and there's no interaction. I'm Linda. What's your definition of success? What success means to you?
Right. I think, it can mean different things to me different days. I mean, some people think it means, time freedom. Probably time freedom for me would be success. And I do feel like I've had that a lot of my life, which is amazing, even before I was an entrepreneur, because I think I was on the way to be an entrepreneur. But like, for instance, I decided on nursing because I knew that I was going to have to work. I could work a couple shifts a week and be able to be in control of my time. So I did go after nursing, and I could help people because I always really wanted to help people. Mm-hmm. And so time freedom is so important, because then you can, everybody's supposed to work in life for sure, doing something, even if it's not their passion, they have to work and make some money and just be plugging into society somewhere where they can make a difference somehow, some way. But I believe that time freedom is more important than anything, because, and of course, there's, of course, money could be success, but you could have all the money in the world, but if you don't, like, if you're always working, then you can't really enjoy it. You just be working all the time. So time freedom.
What's next for Linda?
And medical freedom could go in there too. Success. So I believe in mentoring others to be able to empower others. I'm only one person. I've been doing something called Zytoscans for about 3 years. And a Zytoscan is FDA approved, and it can help people discern what supplements, what essential oils, what foods will actually balance their bodies. So I've been, working on mentoring others to be able to do that, and mentoring others on how to use the oils and how to be empowered. Really it's just more about, everybody has their word for this year. Like, this is 2024, right? And I just keep hearing the word multiply. And because you can add, and add means like we just keep kind of doing what we're doing, right? But if I'm able to actually, mentor someone, they're actually, affecting other people with, Zytoscans, oils, helping people learn to live that holistic life. And I may never meet that person, but somehow, I've made a difference in this one person's life, that they can make a difference in multiply it. Like, I have an event that we're going to be doing soon. It's called Make Over Your Medicine Cabinet. So it's teaching people how to, live more holistically and not always grab for the Motrins and Tylenols and Vicks, Vapor Rub, and all the things. And so it's really doing more events. It's really, being open to travel more. I used to be in the travel business for a little while, and I really feel that with travel, that's part of time freedom. Time freedom, you can travel more because you do have the time to do so. So I plan to travel more as well.
That brings me to kind of the last thing to where, like, okay, with all those plans and visions, do you believe that people should be setting out goals? And I think with our earlier conversation, we had you had mentioned that you read the book about instead of having setting goals for a year, you set goals for like 12 weeks instead. How is that concept different from having the goals for a year?
So with the human brain, we can only take so many goals and really handle them at a time. So I read this book, The 12-Week Plan, and you can actually digest things better in a 12-week period than you can thinking out your whole year. And I did buy something for myself for my wall, and it's the whole year over my desk. So that because we have money and we have time, so we really know what we have in the bank, right, with money. But time wise, if you put it all on your wall, you can really see your whole year at a glance. But it looks pretty large, right? So if we can just think out, say 12 weeks, right? That's the book that everyone can like listen to an audiobook or read it. But it's really affected me that run hard, really hard for 12 weeks and give yourself a break. And then that way, 12 weeks is pretty manageable because you get 4 quarters a year. And so run hard 12 weeks and you schedule some goals, but you know, you don't know how things are going to be unfold. So they really recommend scheduling activity like action and different people, different, you can do different networking, but you can do strategic thinking about whatever you need in your business to make sure you schedule something in that arena every single day. And then at the end of the week, you're supposed to assess yourself according to this book and really make decisions how your next week is going to play out. And you do that repeatedly for 12 weeks. And then you've actually gone forward in your business more than if you would have just said, okay, you just are thinking of the whole year. The whole year is so big, but 12 weeks is easier for our brains to handle.
Isn't that interesting? It's kind of similar to what we do as nurses, because when we write the care plans for the patients, we only do it for about the same amount of time.
Right. That's a really good analogy because whenever we write the care plan, we say the patient will be able to walk without a assistive device by, say, January 30th. And this will be done through daily physical therapy with the person's name. And they will be able to do 10 steps this day, 20 steps the next day. It's very incremental regimens. And so with each of our businesses, if we could plot it out like that, you know, talk to so many people on the phone or go to so many networking groups and hold so many events. And then you get good at this and then you just see where you're at after 1 week and just see if it hasn't made a difference. And so yeah, I've read already in the book, or not read because I listened to a lot of books that you know, after 1 week of activity like that, you will move ahead weeks. Just really centered it in on activity instead of even planning incremental things. Make sure you're active. Like you shouldn't be time conscious. You should be activity conscious. Like how many activities do I have
those
today?
activities going to move the needle? That's interesting to me why that concept is
absolutely.
So relatable to us because we're not used to having a year goals for the patient when we got trained. But if you do use the same concept for your business, you'll see how much more you can grow in 1 year. Instead of reevaluating once a year, you're reevaluating your plans much sooner. And then you have specific actionable steps to implement every day, every week. So the more often you reevaluate your plans and see where you're at, the quicker you get to your outcome. So I thought that was very interesting for me to point out for the listeners The things that we
Right.
learn in
And
the
then you
nursing
schedule
school
yourself.
is helping us to be entrepreneurs. Isn't that exciting?
Mhm. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And even homeschoolers, I want to say that when I was a homeschooler, I noticed a lot of moms had their own businesses. And now that I've been a business owner, I've run up against so many homeschoolers because they've had to decide what curriculum they're going to do. They aren't run by a school. They're run by, whatever passions and purpose they have for their children. And then they're running a business sometimes, or they grow a business like me after the kids have grown up. So there's different people in the world that, nurses, homeschoolers, they gravitate into being an entrepreneur pretty easily. No, it's not easy, but it's easier than
But at the
not
end of the
having
day, you have to
those
figure out what's your mission
training
and your
grounds in life.
purpose, and just kind of see what feels right for you, and use your intuition and your inner guidance to see which way to go. It could be something similar to yours. You gradually change what you're doing, and that giving you stability, flexibility, and allows you to try different things. So there is no one right way or the wrong way. You kind of figure out your own way, and the beauty of it is our journey.
Right.
It's our experiences.
Right. Like I said, I feel like your whole life is just building on each other like puzzle pieces or, building blocks. Like I have a communications degree, a nursing degree, and then I thought I earned a communications degree almost for no reason. After I decided CNN wasn't right for me when I first started a CNN career. And I thought, wow, what a waste. But then over my lifetime, I'm like, I'm using my communication skills. I still feel like I'm a reporter sometimes, like yourself. Like I want to interview people as well. And I feel like that's why, God allowed me to earn that degree and use it in my life. And because communication is really important. Some people are super quiet in their life and you just wonder what their thoughts are, right? So I think communication is one of the most important things as a human being, to be able to really passionately explain to another person how you're feeling inside, where you want to go to, and then have that listening ability too, not always be the one who's talking, be able to sit back and discern what that person's trying to tell you
And
and
nowadays, and it's
help
just so
them
difficult for
wherever
people
they
to
are
just
at
stop
in their
everything
life.
they're doing and just listen. That's one of the things I really like podcasting, that I'm encouraging people to just relax for, where I thought I'm going to just talk about 30, 40 minutes. And usually lately it's like an hour, and then you look around like, oh my God, it's been an hour already. Like one of the lady that interviewed the other week, she's like, I didn't realize we've been here for an hour and a half. It's because you're being present, we're being in the moment, we're enjoying the exchange, the energy, and we're truly, believing and hoping that people can take a couple of things and use it in their daily life and improve and empower them, inspire them to get out of their box and do their research, figure out what's worked for them. If it doesn't, there's always another way. There's always the way of getting out of, no matter what's going on, no matter how difficult it feels. I'm not saying that some situation is not extremely bad and sad. That's not what we're saying. We're saying you can turn it around no matter what it is. Would it take work? Of course. Would it take determination? Yes. Would you not want to get out of the bed sometime? Of course, we do that. Sometimes I feel that too. I need to listen to people that inspire and motivate me. I hope I am for other people, but we all need that.
Right. We always need a break, one day a week. And if you can't get one day, do one day every other week, something until you can have that, some time freedom. I'm not saying I have all the time in the world, but you can always grab, an hour during your day that you might have been surfing on the web to actually maybe close your eyes for a little bit of a nap, or, take a walk like you were suggesting earlier, something to move the body. Because we need all of those breaks. We need body, mind, and soul, we need to help all those areas. So it's important
Or
to
take
really
a break
think
and
that
listen to
out at the
Jenny's web
beginning of the day
podcast.
before we start.
They're growing. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
you have quite
people,
a few of
I
them.
hear
They're
feedback from the
growing.
people. I'm inspiring them. I encourage them to be their best version of them. They look up to me. It's like, if Jenny can do this, the little girl that grew up in Ukraine, and sometimes maybe skip an article or two, who cares? I'm still me.
Amen. Oh yeah. You should definitely do your vibe attracts your tribe. So you keep staying true to what you believe you need to do. And then the right people will want to be interviewed by you or put you in touch with different people they think that, you should interview. Just, by listening to more and more of your podcasts, I think that that's going to help people really know that, everybody contributes to everyone's thought processes. There could be a very quiet person that you're trying to dig stuff, out of their conversation, or you could have a person that doesn't want to stop, but talking. But, I think all the podcasts that I've enjoyed listening to have been awesome and empowering, and everybody has so much, to share from their
And
own
we
life.
celebrate
Because,
uniqueness
everyone's
as your
life is so unique.
superpower on Janie's Way podcast. And that's a great way to sum it up. Anything you want to add, or anything that you want the listeners to take away from our conversation?
That's right. I think the main thing is to just make sure that every single day you are true to your passions, your purpose, and to know that we all are human, and that, we can make mistakes and actually learn from them and grow, and it may hurt, but that's diamonds. They weren't beautiful at first. They were kind of rough looking. So to become a true amazing diamond, you have to go through rough spots. So take a deep breath every day and just know that, we're all unique. We all have something to contribute, and, to take those action steps, and you will start to feel, success and excitement, and feel alive. You don't want to feel like when you're 85, you didn't do what you were supposed to do. You want to take some chances. They may be calculated, and conservative, but still take some risks, because you will be surprised how far you keep going, one step after another, and just, you can make a difference in someone's life you didn't know. So all of that, it holds true for my business, and I love it.
I
I
keep
can't
hearing
imagine
that
not
over
having
and
my own
over again. I
business.
can't see it any other way. I can't see it not having my own business. And the same talking, it's not for everybody, but you can try and see if it's for you or it's not. That's all its life is about: trying, experimenting, and exploring. And
Right.
you don't know until you try, as they say. So let's celebrate
Right.
our uniqueness every day. Do whatever we can. Wake up every
Exactly.
morning excited about what today's going to bring. And one of the other big things I would say, be grateful,
Right.
and forgive yourself and forgive others, because that's the best thing you can do.
Amen. Yeah. That's true. I'm glad you said about gratitude, because every single day, if you're living in gratitude, then, you won't be disappointed.
I want to thank you for coming and sharing your time and your wisdom and expertise. We'll have your links down in the show notes, of course. And as always, keep on exploring, experimenting, and celebrating your uniqueness.
So, Linda impressed on me that passion and purpose are essential success in entrepreneurship and holistic health, and that thinking outside the box and being open to alternative solutions can lead to breakthroughs in health and wellness. How right she is. Thank you all for blessing us with your presence on this episode of Jenny's Way. Hey, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. As always, we love to hear your comments. See you!